Health as a conduit of soul. Now, how many people want to know, how do I heal my heart? That's where a lot of us are. We're more in love with who we are than we think. When we go to the nature of I've embodied my soul and I'm healing my body as I walk this path of love. Others will say it can feel like a destruction process, but it's basically unleashing the web of lies that many have said about how it is to be in the mindset in order to create from a loving place of joy and health. You see, many people assume that laughter is the best medicine, right? Am I depressed? Am I feeling lonely? Am I feeling belittled? Am I feeling anything other than joy? And then people will say, well, no wonder you feel bad, right? It doesn't mean it has to affect your health. It doesn't mean that if you are any of those things in your mind that you can't align with the highest. Anyone who tells you that is limiting their own mindset. I was at one of the lowest points in my life when I lifted myself up to soul. And when I say that, I mean soul level guidance that was involved with who I was, and I was given the messages of love. Okay? So those ideas of it's a vibrational frequency only have no idea exactly what they're talking about. Okay? Many of us, including those of the wise. Okay, those are the wise words. People need to understand that because many are going through a process that doesn't feel good. And they say, but I'm not lifted up by my own soul's wisdom. You have to go in and analyze those soul visions and ask yourself the questions. What soul vision am I working with? Am I working with my own guidance? Or am I working with someone else's that does, it's either the work or the damage? Whose vision am I working for? I work for my own, right? I've envisioned the process of love as I have received it. I do the work, and then I tap into the soul visions of those who help get me there. I don't listen to those who honor me with their own destructive visions, right? I can hear you loud and clear in the vibration of who I am sometimes. Okay, because I participate in that vision with everybody. I am also aware of what's going on around us in this world. The universal vision of love comes through very strong for Brenda sometimes when those, global impact visions come through. She's starting to hear more and more of those visions. So how does this deal with health? What do you think she needs to know? Are you desperate for a cure? That means you're creating from that vibration of it. It's the hardest thing in the world to acknowledge is that my own soul is so desperate for an answer that I create from that wisdom of it. It doesn't mean you aren't granted miracles. Okay, miracles do happen. For those of us who say it's just about, my mindset, it is not. Your soul can come in and adjust the vibration of your own heart and mind at any point in time, and you reflect upon the vision that you have created. That's where we say, where am I making my choices, right? What choices am I making? I'm making the choice to go forward in my life. I am of health. That is where I create from. I've had my medical miracles handed to me left and right as of late. I no longer create from the place of, doctors are evil either. I never did. I honor their vision and I assume the best from them and from myself. I honor their vision of we are there to help. I honor the vision of we are wise as well. So I don't discount anyone's soul's vision, but what I don't do is allow for those who are belittling others with their vision of I have the answer and yours isn't as good as mine. I would say that works for you. Use it. Okay, I'm getting the proof handed to me. My eyesight's been adjusting on its own to one of I can now see better. And I've gotten the results in test of my kidney and whatnot. Okay, reversing chronic disease is another aspect of soul level understanding in which we know how to do that vision. Others will say, I don't buy into that. Then don't. If it's not your cup of tea, don't worry about it. If you are naturally healthy and feeling vibrant in your beauty, that's where you want to go. And that's it's like someone saying it's a curse to bear, to have a mindset that doesn't allow for others' opinions to come in, because in my mind, my system is of the highest. If you are of the idea of I need help, then by all means, receive the vision in whatever way you are needing it. I love who I am. That's why I create a love for who I am in my soul as well as my body. I have my issues that are of strength of my mind, right? I'm not the perfect size 6, right? Do you know how many wise souls are in the epitome of health and they don't look like the latest model on the cover of a magazine? Okay, that's who I am. I'm vibrant inside and out. I vibrate with my soul. My soul guides me where I need to go. If I need a boost of adrenaline, my soul knows how to give it to me. If I need a boost of, well, it's like a vitamin C vision, I do that as well. I do honor the vision of vitamins, right? It's this idea of whatever you're utilizing to create health with can be destructive if it is only seen as such. Okay, so many are saying, well, how is this a conduit to soul? You want to be healthy in all aspects of who you are when at all possible, right? It's downplaying the conditions that many are saying they're challenged with. I have seen souls in my vibration who have turned the words of cancer around on their own. They denied the vision of a death sentence and managed to outlive the condemnation of other doctors. This is not a condemnation. Okay? Some people will fly high with that vision of I'm a medical miracle. My own grandmother was like that. She was a doctor and surgeons, and she made the miracle happen on a soul level. That's the nature of how we do it. I knew ahead of time that that medical miracle was coming. It just wasn't acknowledged in the form that was apparent to me. I wasn't told it was going to be a miracle, but in essence, that's what the doctors placed it as, in their words, of course. Now, when we talk about health as a conduit of soul, it means that there are areas of life that are of ill will. Okay? Ill will does not necessarily mean that you are ill in the mind. Okay? But we're talking about that. I will not flourish on a soul level if I am hurting others with my mind, right? We disgrace ourselves often with that idea that we have to like tiptoe around soul vision. It's about learning our wisdom as we go. We're not all in the same spot doing the same type of guidance. So if you feel like this is a healing session for a certain soul, we would say that is a different kind of work, right? Many understand Brenda was a Reiki master, to be honest. And in essence, she was granted that by her soul. She took us 2 levels of it and was granted the mastery because she was already connected to the vision of my soul lifts me up to mastery of mind as well as soul. To be a master of your own soul means you connect with the highest of it and you figure out, how do I align with those in this world who can actually administer the truth of it. We continue to expand. But it is that idea of when I've got my future coming to me day by day, I know I'm there. My soul guides me. Okay? And this is why we would say, when you go to that vision of I've embodied my soul, you will feel the vibrations of your soul adjusting you in your mind and in your body. It is a vibrational shift that many are afraid of. And that's the nature of blowing through the fear of soul. You have to be brave, right? It's not about being brave. You come to accept the visions of, I am not just a soul here planting the seeds of love for myself. I also plant the seeds of love for others. That's where many are in their vibration. And we're honoring all of your souls and all of your wisdom, because you are all very wise. You all have your own systems of, how do I keep myself healthy? It's also about having the intentions and not just thinking about, oh, I need to do X, Y, or Z. It's about putting forth the vision and taking steps. You have to just say, I'm moving in the right direction. I have that vision all figured out, is where some say they know that vision. They honor that vision. They want to know, so what does this do for me? Does health mean that I am of soul? You're all of soul. You're all of wisdom. You're all of guidance. What you have planted for yourself from years gone by. Some people have planted those seeds of discovery of ill health as a child. And they need to work through that vision of, I don't need it anymore. Some will say, I can't let go of that condition because it's been transferred to me from my family. Do you know how many people are operating under the idea that their family has passed on genes of ill health to them and they've got to transcend it on their own? How do you do that vision? You just assume, my genes, my whole body regenerates itself every 7 years. Or so. Some will say it's a higher number than that for them, because it's not black and white. It's not cut and dry. Okay? And then what you do is you say, this is fascinating. I want to there's someone who's saying, I want to mow the lawn. So when people say, I'm in health, how they do it is their own business, right? But it's part of the equation of soul birth. I'm birthing a new soul in my body. So these are those ideas of, I am completely different than what I was 7 years ago. I have the same beauty within. My soul doesn't, transform itself overnight. I don't focus on the conditions that I create, is where many go. And they know that. They're like, this is just where I'm at now, and I'm going to move forward out of that idea that I need to be sick. Some are using illness subconsciously or on a soul level even, that they need to rest. Brenda gets told, you need to rest. Okay? Or you need to go lie down. She gets the energy zap that will let her know something's not right. I better, take a break. Right? I don't use illness to give me a break from my life or from my mindset. I don't need to decondition myself from anybody else's wisdom. It's just one aspect of soul vision. There are many beautiful, wise, it's like women are being discounted for their old visions, right? The natural herbs, right? A lot of people are utilizing herbs and vitamins and whatnot. And we would say at some point you let go of a lot of that stuff. It is not needed for a majority of people. Brenda herself will get told when she can release the idea of vitamin D. She's no longer basking in the sun every day for 10 minutes. So she's utilizing her vitamin D. It's like extrapolating. Someone's extrapolating from this and saying, I know what she's doing. It's a fine line. Okay, some people don't want to hear the words of wisdom about soul level understanding, or what they are saying is, this is going to collude with my own vision, and I see it as being a common practice that many are discounting medicine or herbs, and that's my business. We are not saying that. But what we are saying is Brenda herself has utilized many of those visions in the past. And then it's a requirement at some point, right? So what she's doing is she's allowing for her body to be the beauty that it is and not need any additional supplements as of late, right? She utilizes vitamins, not huge amounts. It's a tube of, and she's going to be honest, she's not endorsing any product, but it's a vitamin enhanced energy drink. And that's the nature. Her body knows what it knows. I already know how to produce beautiful genes, right? It's not beauty, it's the gene pool that she created from, okay? And so she has people in her family who continue to focus on the negative medical aspects that they are creating with. And they get together and they talk about their aches and pains and discomforts. And they reinforce the vision that I'm in pain and discomfort and I'm blaming my family tree. You have the ability to create anew. And that's the nature of it. So this idea of what gets transmitted to my family, we say, thank you for your wisdom. I'm not blaming my family for the conditions in which they created with. How could we possibly blame our family tree, right? There are so many things in our atmosphere that we did not have as of late, right? I don't even blame the carbon dioxide visions, right? I know what I know. I allow my body to adjust to what it needs to adjust to. This is called the spirit of evolution. And Charles Darwin is one of those, it's like he's revered and reviled in the spiritual community. And Brenda's heard from that soul, okay? And he wants to come through and say, she knows how to do the work. We are evolving as species. And it's not about, hey, only rich people get to evolve because they're able to afford these high-priced items. Okay, it's why Brenda doesn't use a system that requires someone to check a chart in order to figure out what's going on with their life. She loves astrology-based visions. Okay, she utilized them for years, but she never once said, I'm going to utilize these to bring myself down. I will see the challenges of my life when I create with certain systems is where many go. Oh, I'm now in this phase of the moon that's going to tell me there's something going on and I might feel bad about something. Or I can say, you know what? This is one of those days where I feel beautiful and everyone else feels like crap. Right? Not everybody. She's tapped into the collective as well. It's one of her strengths. So there's very many people who are of the tribal vision. I need to find a tribe. And that can lift you up into that positive mindset of we are all creating from a place of we love our health, we love our vitamins, we love our whatnot. And whatever tools of wisdom you use to help lift you up, we want you to realize that in essence, the human potential and the health of it is part of soul. So when you feel like you're in health, your soul cheers you on. Because it means you get to keep producing from that vision of I'm of health. If you're in the vision of I am of ill health, or there is some condition that I am challenged with, look at it as a challenge. It's a challenge. It is not a sentence. I can overcome just about any disease is where most go at some point. Believe it or not. That's down the road. Okay? But that's where a lot of people are creating from. Because it is true that we adjust the vision of love for those who are struggling with that idea. It doesn't mean that your words of wisdom or your idea of I go to a prayer circle isn't being acknowledged. Many will utilize those ideas of I am being lifted up by other soul visions into a place of I don't need to worry about my health. It doesn't matter. You are not seen as I'm not doing the best mindset if I am not of health. Guaranteed. You're honored no matter where you are. Your soul is on your side. Guaranteed. Will they come through with words of wisdom to help maybe adjust your vision or give you words of encouragement? That's what you want to focus on. I'm encouraging myself to take steps of love for myself and others. Or am I telling myself that my soul needs me to cool it on the Kool-Aid? Someone is saying there's a Kool-Aid vision Like this sounds like a cult-like classic. It is not, right? People will say, who's drinking the Kool-Aid? This is a vision of old, right? People that are drinking the Kool-Aid. They feel like it is somehow misleading people into a destructive vision. We are not telling people ever to discard doctors. Brenda goes and she gets the confirmation from her doctors that she's in, good spirits and good health, right? She analyzes it, but she was in a disaster area in her mind when she first connected with her soul's vision of I am now embodied within the vision of love, and she was hearing wisdom of love and destruction in certain areas. It depends on the time frame, but in essence she came to learn to love her body in its form as she creates it. And that's where society is giving us the message that there's something wrong with us, but it's also telling us there's a lot going on around us that we need to be afraid of or on the lookout for. Okay, those are the seeds that we're going to be unwinding on a soul level. Most are going to cheer that one on because they know it. How many people start to read the books or the symptoms on the package of a prescription or some kind of medicine, and lo and behold, you're starting to think, oh my God, I'm getting this symptom. It's a mindset that can plant it. It doesn't mean it's always going to happen, especially if you embody your soul. Brenda can look at any book and she just says, that's not what I need to create. And that's the nature of what her soul then acknowledges and says, okay, we won't create from that vision of I need to be sick. I may need to go for a walk, right? So that's the nature. Brenda's exercise regimen gets altered by her soul. She was going to do a more high impact workout this morning, and then her soul said, today's a day for a walk. It's a better day for a walk / light jog for her, but she's going to be doing mostly walking. And that's the kind of strength of what can happen when you go to your vision of soul. And that's what your soul wants. Your soul says, wow, we're healthy. That means that we're going to continue to what? Create long and prosperous visions. I also get that vision handed to me. Not all of us are creating, exit and entry points left and right. Okay, but those would be those exit points. Am I creating more exit points in my vision? And it's not for everybody to hear that, but health can be one of those places where we create because we need to maybe feel what it's like to heal ourselves in order for us to gain the confidence that we are healing ourselves. Brenda avoids sickness for the most part. She has had her vision of I'm surrounded by it and I don't get sick. That's what her soul knows how to boost her. Her soul's vibrating in love of all. But that's the nature. Okay, so this is not about a brag post. It's about how do we get ourselves into the vision of my soul needs to know that medicine. It's the mind medicine is what most would say. And it very much is in essence, but it could honestly be that your soul has been tapped into to experience a condition that enlightens you to a different way of being temporarily. Others are saying, I was given the death knell, and Brenda has those visions on her heart, and she says, I understand very much so. And I'm honoring of your wisdom that you have for whatever path you are taking. You're taking a path of, it's like of joy in essence. Some people will feel like that death knell was a release of pain for many. These are those visions of many who come through and say, I created this vision because I was in so much pain. And so I'm not afraid to say, amen. Others are saying they understand that. There are many people and loved ones who are in so much pain. And so that vision of, I need to get out of pain. Brenda has pain management administered to her for certain things in her back when it's needed. Does it mean that she's ignoring her spine? It's muscles for the most part. She doesn't utilize medicine very often. Every once in a blue moon, okay? But for the most part, she's been health, and she's free of the idea that I'm of health. She doesn't think of health. She just goes about her day. So she's not focused on I'm trying to cure anything. She's just, I'm healthy and I create that in my vibration. I want you guys to think about the nature of where am I focusing my time? Do I focus on my health, or can I focus on the beauty of life from a different perspective where I may be challenged in certain areas, but I'm going to flourish through the struggle? You see, that's another vision that she knows how to do. I will flourish through the struggle of my life. And that's what she was able to do, because she is of a, I take charge, not only of what I'm doing, but of those around me. I am constantly planting seeds of love for others. And that means I'm also doing the work that needs to be done on a soul level. So I hear your words of wisdom saying, I have a different system, I have a different system, I have a different system. I have my own system that I utilize. It's called I embodied my soul. And it's not what everyone else thinks it is. Others are very afraid of that vision, and they would want somebody else's vision to come through and to guide them to those loving levels of life. It's not about disconnecting from life. You enjoy your life in whatever ways you can. That's what your souls are asking. Let us create from the place of I'm living a well-lived life as much as possible. Appreciate the beauty of the simplicity in your world is where many are lacking. I don't need complexity to be straightforward is where Brenda's soul goes. Okay? Mix it up a bit is another vision, right? But in essence, we wanted this to be a shorter vision because she has other alternative visions that she wants to bring through about health and wisdom. The wisdom of those souls who say, I know not to focus on health, will say this is a focus on health. This is it's not an escape route for some souls, but it's an honest assessment of where she was in a moment and where her soul said, this is a good topic to discuss. So there's a reason, and it could be that it's an enlightenment for many who have never heard of either the Seth vision, which is one vision that others are saying this sounds like that, versus the idea of I've embodied my own soul. If you look into the Seth vision of health, Jane was not able to break free from the vision of I need to be separate from his soul. And they created this dynamic of love for each other. Okay? How many people want to know what that relationship? Jane could, in fact, enlighten us to her own experience, but we're not going to do that vision. Okay? She's being honored, though, because she knows my material is being spread all around this world, and I don't get acknowledged for the wisdom that I was able to bring through. It's an honor, she says, to partner with everybody. She's no longer attached to the vision as mine. She joyfully creates with many. Let's put it that way. So that's why she's granting us the beauty of her soul in those visions that many would say are of bad. Okay, if you can create the medical miracles from your heart or your mind, they're all beautiful. You're never going to get discredited in your own journey of what has worked for you or what is working for you. Okay, but you have to think about the many, many souls who are not of wealth or prosperity and who are saying, does this mean that I can't heal myself if I don't utilize these medicines? Right? This is why we're going there. We're getting off of a lot of the medicines in essence, and we're going to a more natural, it's a transitional stage because a lot of those herbs are not nearly as expensive as, say, certain medications, but most of them are not covered by insurance either. So we're going to be talking about the healthcare system in the United States at some point and what people are thinking is going on with it versus the reality of where we're heading. Brenda hears from her doctor. Her doctor comes in and will leave. It depends. She has a doctor who monitors her heart. She had a heart condition at one point, right? No. She had her own soul go in yesterday after eating a lot of buttered popcorn and literally do an energetic cleanse of her heart and say this is to remove any idea that there's any plaque buildup. She didn't ask for it. It's granted to her. So don't expect any, it's like the bygones are coming through. Wow. Yeah, that's the strength of soul. Okay. I love who I am, but I get to enjoy my life. That's where Brenda is. And my soul allows me many, many, many years of love for all of you and for all of your wisdom. This is not to demean anyone's business or their own outcomes or their own miracles or their own struggles or their own lack of energy. Brenda has that vision, very much so. And it's a condition that she bothers herself with. Someone would say, why do you need energy? It's because of her mind with this idea of I'm dealing with some angry and rebellious and emotional teens. And so I'm very sensitive to my environment and with negativity for the most part. And so sometimes those situations are of challenge for me. And it's a mental drain. And it can be felt as physical, but it's really a mental drain that I tend to deal with. And so then I have to hear about my own soul saying, why are you getting an energy drink? It's just a mental drain. It's not the physical, but it does impact me physically. So with that, I want to put forward the advice that others are going to then start to create from this idea of I don't need to challenge myself to buy everybody else's products. I'm not going to come through with some miracle cure, am I? Your soul session is what you would be doing, but I'm not here to promote that only. I will be doing other visions to expand us into those ideas of either soul vision or the vision of love of all. And many would say, go to your own soul first. I honestly would. Because it is an experience like nothing else, but we want you to go to that vision of I love who I am. And it's not what you think. It's not about butterflies and rainbows always, okay? But it's a little bit different. And so we're going to expand upon that vision. But your health does get adjusted in the vision of I have connected with my whole soul. They know how to help me rise into a different vision of love for not only for myself, but for others when it is needed. I'm not always, riding high on the plane of ecstasy, but I know how to tap into that nature. Okay. It's not the drug. It's the vibration. I use a vibrational tool and those soul visions come to me. So anyways, I want to thank you again for your wisdom. Your words are magic. Whoever is on the screen, you are like magic in your soul. And others are like, I'm here to listen. And it's like wisely discern what is best for me. Beautiful. That's what you should always do. Discern what is best for you and go with it and see what happens. Encourage yourself to explore new areas of growth. Encourage yourself to go to other places of fascination and wonder. Check out your local community. Literally look in your community and ask yourself, is my community, it's like fruitful, wise, and of health, right? I am. That's where I go. I don't need to go to remote, far places of the planet in order to find the right nutrient that's going to somehow change my life. But if it did for someone, good for you. But I'm here for the vision of many are not in that position to be able to do that. And it could be that our insurance, vision expands. But we know we're flying high with soul, and it's not necessarily, that's not where we're going, to be honest. But it's not overnight. This is a process that spans decades centuries for some of the higher levels of vision that are going to be coming through for Brenda. So that's how far in advance she creates. So, because she has generational visions coming through for her. And these are her own soul visions and of her own descendants. So people will not understand how she does that, but it's something that she doesn't even understand at this point. So with that in mind, we want to honor you and your health, whatever state it is in. If you are in the mindset of, I am of beauty, that is all that is needed. We don't need to focus on what state of being I'm in relation to health. Just say you're of beauty and you're good. And with that, we say, have a wonderful, wonderful day.